Get ready to get in the game. Stretch, strengthen, live, and thrive. You can be a winning athlete in the game of life. It's the Peel Appeal with author and corrective exercise specialist Matt Peel.
Hey, this is Matt Peel with the Peel Appeal podcast. What's going on? What's happening in your world today? I hope it's an amazing day, and I'm going to make it even more amazing with my guest, who has an incredible journey to share in his journey with autism. And he's a successful podcast host of the Autism Rocks and Rolls podcast. He's interviewed a lot of famous people on his show, including WWE legend Mick Foley, who I've watched wrestling as a kid, so I love wrestling. So that was one of the things that stood out for me. But not just that, about his journey and what it's like as he's a high-functioning human being on the autism spectrum. But he has a mission, and that's to show people that he's not broken. Nothing needs to be fixed. There's not a true quote-unquote normal, and that he's a successful entrepreneur with his website, autismrocksandrolls.com. So with that, I want to bring in Sam Mitchell. Sam, how are you today up in Indiana?
Hey, buddy. Good to be here. Good to be here. It's cold out there, but I'm definitely trying to stay warm.
That's important because I was record this. We were talking about he's in Indiana. I'm in the New Orleans area. It's sunny and 70 degrees, but yet last Saturday here it felt like 15. So you never know what you get down here in the South, 70 or 15, and everything in between in the wintertime. But
Really
tell us
is.
a little about your journey, Sam. I mean, you're an entrepreneur. You've really kind of taken the bull by the horns, which is fantastic, man. You got a TED Talk called Sold Structure. You're a motivational speaker, entrepreneur. You have your own merchandise and have just been literally rocking and rolling. So what made you want to get into this in the first place?
Well, a lot of my life, I've been bullied, excluded, all those stereotypes you can imagine. But what really sparked my interest was joining my high school's media club. And brother, I just fell in love with the podcasting. It made sense in my life because a lot of things in my life don't make sense. But podcasting was one of the few things that did. So I figured,
Oh,
well, I better get started on this. And I know I'm going to college, but why do I have to wait? Why can't I expand my skills early? That's why I decided to create Autism Rocks and Rolls.
very cool. Very cool. So how old were you when you started?
Started podcasting when I was 17, but that was like my school's podcast. I help with that. But
Right.
with my general podcast, if I remember correctly, it was October 2019, and I'm 23 right now. So you'll have to do the math because I'm awful with math. Numbers just don't align
Math
with my
is
brain.
hard. Math is hard. I get that. As I tell people, that's why I can only count to 15 and I'm in fitness. But what's pretty funny about that part, though, is I have a client and his name is Cameron Bailey. He's just turned 21. He is actually a calendar savant. So what he likes to do is if you tell him your birthday, like he'll know when it was 3 years ago, the day of the week in 2019, he'll know when it is in 2032. So he's able to figure out all these things math wise, I guess. And so it's pretty fun talking to him. He enjoys working with people and networking with people, seeing them and having these discussions. So he comes in the gym and works out. He really enjoys his exercise and he's getting stronger and more coordination, better balance. You've just started exercising yourself. So tell me a little bit about your kind of exercise journey. What got you into doing so? How do you feel? What's some of your progress?
Well, my parents started, but I was too stubborn to go on the trail just because it was hard to give up the sweet tooth and all the
Ah,
junk you can imagine. But I figured, well, I'm gonna not live long, but you know what? I made my bed, I'm gonna lay in it. So the story really began with that, but then as I was having more health issues, it wasn't really with the weight at first. It was more of I made my bed, but then I also kept having sinus problems. I have really bad sinus and really bad allergies.
mhm, mhm.
So it was in a battle with that. So I went to the doctor and they did a chest ray to see if there was any fluid in my chest because I was having coughing issues, man. I kept thinking, is this pneumonia? I mean, it was a battle. I mean, it was awful. Well, come to later out that the chest was great with pneumonia. I had no fluid in the chest, but I got the beginning stages of fatty liver disease. And I thought,
Mm,
well, I better do something, or I probably won't be lived to see my 30th birthday. So I started
right.
going on a diet, exercising, and I do good at exercising. I just think sometimes I strain myself a little too hard.
That happens, and you're right. Got to back off a little bit so we don't hurt ourselves or have any other types of issues, because then we can't get back to exercise. And you nailed it on the head. Eating healthy is important, and I think it's especially important from a mental health standpoint too. So, how does exercise, and now that you change your diet a little bit, how has that helped you from a mental health standpoint?
Well, honestly, man, I think then while there may be a link, I've always thought physical health and mental health are two separate because you can be in good shape but have the worst mental health alive.
Hmm.
You can also be in the worst shape of your life, but you're happy and your mental health is good.
There's facts. There's facts to that, yeah, and that deals with some person, the individual's attitude. But overall, when you exercise, the science talks about dopamine release, an
Right,
adrenaline
that now
rush.
that is true. I will admit that I'm not gonna sound uneducated. Well, that's a BS statement. No, that is true. You do feel better once you have a good mental and physical state.
Hmm.
But I think sometimes in life it's hard to have both. And I
We
think
have challenges, yes.
we need to first, before we even get both, start with one. Maybe your mental health stinks, but you have good physical health. That says something. You have bad physical health, or you're like me, you have bad physical health, but your mental health is great. You know what? In my eyes, that's something. And as they say, something is better than nothing. It's better than having really bad physical and mental health.
True.
I
Very
think
true.
that was
Very
also
true.
why I was like, well, you know what? Yeah, I'm kind of a large person, but I'm happy. I'm comfortable with myself. And that's where I was fulfilled. And I thought, you know what? I'm okay.
Yes. It's important to have a good self-image of yourself. That's very important. And as people exercise, hopefully that as their bodies change and their self-image also improves with it. They have self-confidence and self-esteem. But your attitude, yeah, you're right. There's some people that just have stinky attitudes, regardless if they're in shape or not in shape, whatever's happening in the day. So those are choices I think that we make on a daily basis of, hey, am I gonna have a good attitude or try to have a good attitude as life throws this crap at us? Or am I just gonna have a stinky attitude regardless of what happens? And then, even if it's like a sunny day, 70 degrees, lots to be thankful for out here and enjoying. But am I just going to be pissy all day, or do I going to choose to say, you know what, hey, it's a beautiful day. Let's do something. So, with your experience, you're talking about like disability inclusion. So, what does that really mean? Kind of share that with what your viewpoint on
Right.
that.
So disability inclusion means that you don't exclude everyone out because let's be realistic. The way society looks at people with disabilities are almost as if they're another human species, man. That's
Hmm.
not right. They're individuals like everyone else.
Correct. Correct. We all have our individualism, and it's important to share that and again, like you said, be comfortable with that.
It's not fair too because we're all the same human species. We literally bleed the same blood. It may be a different blood type, but it's blood. And
Correct.
who cares? Who cares that they do think or look a little different than your average man or woman? But guess what? Whether or not they have a mental or physical limitation, they can still do stuff.
Correct. Correct. It's just a little different, or it might not be to a certain level, but they absolutely can. And that's what I'm learning a lot with and working with Cameron and figuring out what can he do? What are some of the things he can do exercise wise that I can still work with. Again, maybe he'll never be able to bench press 135 pounds, but that's fine. He's able to handle 30-pound dumbbells and feels great about it. So
Yeah,
it's just
that's not my
adapting.
problem. My problem sometimes is understanding the exercise and the format.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And understanding how it gets done physically sometimes doesn't make sense. So I try to
Okay.
adapt to my way I mean, I can think off the top of my head. They want me to use a machine, and unfortunately, just without spoiling a lot what's in my home, for privacy reasons, we don't have that machine. But I have a different machine I can use, and literally, it's very similar. And I actually like that exercise better than doing the other one. The way I like to think of it is if the exercise is very concrete and simple, the more steps you add in an exercise, the more likely I'm going to get.
We're freezing a little bit. So yes, you're right though, Sam. You're right. There's we're comfortable with certain things, and you got to learn some different movements and get a little bit uncomfortable. But it's adapting to exercise to you, and that's very important. I think we all do that to an extent. So you have a nonprofit, and talk to me a little about your nonprofit. What's it like to run your nonprofit, and why did you get it started in the first place?
Well, I think it just grew unexpectedly. The podcast is where it all started, and before you know it, man, it was 20 hits, 20 downloads. Now it's 100 downloads. All of a sudden, I'm getting people who want sponsorship, which oddly enough, I didn't know you could do that in a podcast. I just thought that was for radio, movies, and television with
Mm-hmm.
commercials. I didn't know there could be commercials in a podcast, which, believe me, I find comical that I know that now, but back then I didn't know. And I have all of a sudden there's someone who heard about me and wants to start a board. Okay, let's do it. I don't know what a board is or never been on one, but what the heck? Now all of a sudden we want to plan a gala. Okay, I've never done a gala with a nonprofit, but okay, let's see what's happening. Now all of a sudden 2022, somehow, and I still don't know how, I've even asked her, I unfortunately can't remember the answer, heard about me from Oklahoma, not Oklahoma City, Broken Arrows, Oklahoma. They want me to speak there at their conference. Okay. Done some speaking engagements here and there, but not any ones that were not affiliated with my school or with my home.
Right. So when you're up on stage talking as a motivational speaker, how obviously the more you do it, the better you get and the less nervous you feel. But how was your very first time? How nervous were you? What were you feeling?
Not really nervous. I just didn't like the content because we mainly bragged about our story. It was like, look at what Sam can do. He's on a spectrum. Look at what he can do.
It was more about not what you can do, but how well are you, let's say, going out there and making an impact in people's
Let's
lives.
see what others can do.
Yeah, yeah. I love it, dude. I love it. So you're definitely an inspiration to people out there, not just with autism. I think anyone who wants to do something that's a little different, that's a little bit outside their comfort zone, hey, you can do it. I mean, check out Sam. Look what Sam's done. He didn't come from a lot of money. Doesn't have the silver spoon or anything different than anybody else has. Human being. We have our own faculties, and it's what you make of them. And you're doing a hell of a job, Sam, on creating a market for you, working with your nonprofit, showing people with autism that, you know what, hey, there's a future. You can get out there and be successful. You just got to try it. I think that's great, man.
Well, why just be known as the ordinary man after you are gone and all the people that are in your line are just family and your friends? That's like
Right.
an average Joe. I don't want to be the average Joe. I want the line, if I did have a funeral, because believe when I was 15, I didn't think I would have one, nor did I think the only people in line would be my family. But why just be that person with this line? And I'm talking about here, and in the lines, your family and friends only, when it can be here. And I'm trying to stretch my arm farther. Clearly, I know you can't see my hand, but
That's all right.
it's further, trust me. But they could be your family, your friends, someone you've inspired down the line, and maybe your former teacher that admired you wholeheartedly. Why have this when you can have that?
I love it. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. We have decisions. We have choices we can make. We can say, woe is me, woe is me. I'll never amount to whatever it is, anything. Or we can take a shot and say, no, I am going to make a difference. I'm going to do the best I can.
With the world and the way I was treated and the world I live in, I could be kind of pissy and angry.
Right.
But here's my question. Where's that going to get me? Probably either dead behind bars or very bitter and no one wants to be around someone like that. So if no one wants to be around with someone like that, I'm probably not going to have a lot of people on my back when I need them.
Dude, you nailed it. You nailed it. So awesome. So as we wrap this up here, tell everybody about your podcast, where they can find it, your website, and some ways to connect with you.
Well, I'm not a hard guy to find. You can find me on your favorite media platform. If you Google me or search engine optimization, something will pop up. Just do me a favor. Don't research Sam Mitchell, because you get a basketball player. And trust me, I haven't done any slam dunks lately. Your best bet's to research Autism Rocks and Rolls.
Got it. So that's his website, autismrocksandrolls.com. His YouTube is Autism Rocks and Rolls Sam MITC 2906. But again, you can reach out to him on LinkedIn. You can find him on Instagram, Autism Rocks and Rolls Pod. And I think those are things that ways you can find you. But take a listen to his podcast. Go to his website. Support Sam. He's a great guy, and he can definitely motivate you to step outside your comfort zone and be all you can be. Sam, pleasure, man.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate you having me on.
All right. So this is Matt Peel with the Peel Appeal podcast. Subscribe, like, listen, share the Peel Appeal. Go to Amazon, purchase my book, The Athlete in the Game of Life. As you age, our bodies change. So learn what those changes are, how you can adapt better to them, and be your best athlete in your game of life. So until then, we'll look forward to hearing you on the next podcast, and have a great day.
Are you ready to get in the game? Get personal help, sign up for our newsletter, and pick up your copy of Athlete in the Game of Life, the book, all at mattpeel.com. Thanks for listening.